better man for her. He makes her smile, and she makes him smile. God bless you both.
I just want to say I love you both. You look great together, and she's been looking her whole life for a good guy. I couldn't ask for a better one. Love you guys.
That's just the test.
I know. It just says the pink is gonna be girls.
I don't know. Just the test.
That's awesome. Guess when you want to, it happens.
It wasn't like an argument. We had an emotional conversation, but I'll leave it at that. But I just want them back. I just want them to come back. And if they're not safe right now, that's what's tearing me apart. Because if they are safe, they're coming back. But if they're not, this has got to stop. Like, somebody has to come forward.
Chris Watts, once a seemingly ordinary man with a picturesque family life, shocked the world in 2018 when he brutally murdered his pregnant wife Shanann and their 2 young daughters, Bella and Celeste.
Shanann, Bella, Celeste, if you're out there, just come back. Like, if somebody has her, just please bring her back. I need to see everybody. I need to see everybody again. This house is not complete without anybody here. Please bring her back.
The Watts family tragedy unfolded in Frederick, Colorado, and quickly became a focal point of media attention, shedding light on the dark undercurrents that can exist beneath the surface of a seemingly normal life. In the early hours of August 13th, 2018, Chris Watts committed one of the most heinous acts imaginable. After an apparent argument with Shanann, who was 15 weeks pregnant with their 3rd child, Nico, Watts strangled her to death in their bedroom. As the horror continued to escalate, Watts then turned his attention to his daughters, Bella, 4, and Celeste, 3. He smothered both children, one after the other, in the back seat of his truck. Watts then transported their bodies to a remote oil field where he buried Shanann in a shallow grave and submerged Bella and Celeste in separate oil tanks. The cold-blooded nature of the crime was exacerbated by Watts' attempts to cover it up. He appeared on local news, pleading for the safe return of his missing family, all while knowing their fate. Law enforcement officials quickly grew suspicious of Watts'
Shanann,
inconsistent
Bella,
statements and
Celeste,
odd behavior.
If you're out there, just come back. Like, if somebody has her, just please bring her back. I need to see everybody. I need to see everybody again. This house is not complete without anybody here. Please bring her back.
That's it. I can take that, Michael.
But yeah, I thought nothing.
Nothing for the rest of the day.
No, that's it.
She's pregnant as well.
How far along?
14, 15 weeks.
During the investigation, Watts initially claimed that he had no idea where his family was and that he hoped they would return safely. However, after failing a polygraph test and being confronted with evidence, Watts confessed to the murders. His initial confession was an attempt to shift the blame, claiming that Shanann had killed their daughters in a fit of rage, prompting him to kill her in response. This narrative, however, fell apart under scrutiny, and Watts eventually admitted to all 3 murders. Facing overwhelming evidence, Watts chose to plead guilty to all charges in November 2018, in a deal that spared him the death penalty. This plea deal resulted in a sentence of 5 life terms, without the possibility of parole, 3 to be served consecutively and 2 concurrently, plus an additional 48 years for the unlawful termination of a pregnancy and 36 years for tampering with the bodies.
He liked her, she liked him, but I don't think it was love at first sight or anything. They took a little while and I guess got to know each other and, dated. It was always a little strange that she always said a lot of things about Chris in front of me that I didn't like. like this isn't the kind of person I would date. He doesn't know how to do this, or he doesn't know how to do that.
During the sentencing, the judge described the case as perhaps the most inhumane and vicious crime that I have handled out of the thousands of cases that I have seen. Watts was transferred to Dodge Correctional Institution in Waupun, Wisconsin, where he has been serving his sentence since December 2018.
What's it like to meet him in person?
Very surreal. At times when he would talk about the murders, his eyes would turn so black. He just would get a different look on his face, and he talked about it so nonchalantly.
Do you have a sense of how he's doing today?
I don't think he's doing well right now. He has finally realized that he's going to be there for the rest of his life.
His life in prison is marked by a strict routine and isolation from the general population, as his notoriety makes him a target for other inmates. Despite this, Watts has a job within the prison as a custodian, performing cleaning duties in various areas of the facility. According to reports, he spends much of his time reflecting on his crimes, which he has described as a source of deep remorse and constant torment. Watts has also received letters from admirers, mostly women, who have expressed sympathy or romantic interest in him. This strange phenomenon, where criminals receive attention and even adulation from outsiders, underscores the morbid fascination that cases like Watts can generate. The case of Chris Watts has prompted significant discussion among psychologists and criminologists who have analyzed his behavior in the context of narcissism, sociopathy, and the pressures of maintaining a facade of the perfect family. Watts's actions have been interpreted as a desperate attempt to escape from a life that he perceived as burdensome, particularly after he began an affair with a co-worker and saw his life with Shanann and their children as an obstacle to his newfound desires. The murders have also sparked broader conversations about domestic violence and the warning signs that often precede such tragedies. While Watts did not have a documented history of physical abuse, the controlling and manipulative behaviors that emerged during the investigation suggest a pattern of emotional abuse that culminated in the ultimate act of violence. The Watts family murders have remained a subject of intense public interest, with multiple documentaries, true crime shows, and books exploring the case. These portrayals have delved into the details of the investigation, the psychological profile of Chris Watts, and the impact on the surviving family members. Shanann's parents have been vocal in their grief and anger, advocating for awareness around the dangers of domestic violence and the importance of recognizing red flags in relationships. The case also continues to haunt the community of Frederick, Colorado, where the memory of Shanann, Bella, Celeste, and Nico is honored through various memorials and events aimed at preventing similar tragedies in the future. Chris Watts' life in prison is one of isolation, monotony, and reflection on the horrific actions that led to the loss of his family.